Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to prepare what we call in Dominican Republic la bandera dominicana. La bandera is the flag. Why? Because you have red beans and you have white rice and then you have stewed meat, and that's how they call it, la bandera dominicana. How many of you like to boil your beans from scratch? I like to have my dry beans, boil them. I grew up eating food like this in the Dominican Republic, nice and fresh, and honestly, I never had an encounter with canned beans until I moved to America, because I grew up on a farm and we used to harvest everything. And my family used to eat very organic. And when I came to America, that I saw all of this canned food. I used to see canned food in the Dominican Republic in the supermarkets, and I literally used to be like, that's for lazy people. Yep, that's how my grandmother used to say that canned food was for lazy people. The rice already consumed all the water, and now I just made a mountain with it, and I'm doing this so it could breathe. We're gonna cover it for 20 minutes until our rice is done. And our rice is ready. Our 20-minute passed by already, and our white rice is ready to serve. We have this beef. We are going to season it. We have fresh garlic, black pepper, dry thyme, Dominican oregano, paprika, liquid seasoning, adobo, and we incorporate everything. Make sure that you clean your meat with vinegar or lime or lemon juice, whatever you have available, so you can kill all the bacteria your meat might have. You don't know what kind of surface they cut your meat. Now that your meat is ready, you could leave it like this overnight, or you can leave it there for 1 hour, 2 hours, and then cook whatever time you have to spare. Now we're going to add a little bit of oil, either to a pot or pan, whatever you have. Now we're going to add some brown sugar so we could add some color. And when you see that your sugar take this nice golden brown color, you add your meat. And look how beautiful our beef look like. I did not add the water. That's the water that is coming from itself. And look at the beautiful color that the brown sugar gave to our meat. Now I have a spoon, a regular spoon of tomato paste. So our consistency could be a little thicker, and it could have that nice rich color of carne guisada. When you go to a Dominican restaurant, carne guisada always have that color. Is because we first use the brown sugar or sugar, and then we put tomato paste. And now we're gonna let our tomato paste to cook a little bit. And then we're going to rinse out the bowl where we season the meat, and we're going to add water to make sure that we don't lose none of that delicious flavor that we have in that bowl when we season our meat. And now we will stir to incorporate. Make sure you stir very good so all of the flavor that is around your pan can incorporate. And now we're going to add the fresh ingredients. Now we have a half a chicken cube, red pepper, green pepper, ajicito gustoso, and we have culantro, and we also have piece of onion and green onion. Have a nut or cilantro. Now we're going to cover it into our meat sauce. These are the ingredients that I'm going to be using to season our beans. We have paprika, onion, Dominican oregano, half a chicken cube, 2 ice shredded, 2 cloves of garlic, liquid seasoning, red pepper, ajicito gustoso, green pepper, paprika, black pepper, and dry thyme. The Dominican oregano is going to give a little kick to our habichuelas guisada. Here I have kombucha pumpkin. I cut this smaller and I make this bigger because I want the smaller to kind of fall apart, disintegrate, and become nothing, so it could add a nice color and also add color in thickness. In these, I want to be able to enjoy it with my beans. I have 1 spoon of tomato paste. I'm going to add a little bit of oil so I can saute the ingredients. And I'm using a pan to fry the ingredients, to stir fry them, and then I'm going to add a little bit of water and I'm going to add it to the beans. Because I'm using the same pot that I used to boil the beans, I'm going to season it right there. So therefore, I'm not going to be able to do this if it already has liquid inside. That's why we're doing something separate. But if I would have boiled it in something else, that it wouldn't be the same, then I would be doing this in the pot, in a different pot. But this is how they taught me when I was little to season the beans. Now we're gonna add our pumpkin. Now I have the green ingredients in here, the fresh ingredient. I have cilantro, green onions, and culantro. We're gonna put it as a whole because at the end, when our beans are ready, we are going to remove it. So it's okay if you put it as a whole. Now I'm going to add a little bit of adobo instead of salt. I add adobo instead of salt because adobo already has sodium on it and it has nice flavors. So it's a win-win. I kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Now we're gonna cover our beans into our pumpkins and nice and tender. Look how beautiful our carne guisada, which is beef stew, are coming along. Beautiful color, beautiful color. This is the way I was told to make it. You might find another Dominican person that cook it differently, but carne guisada, this is the way I was told in my family. This is the process, and there is many different ways because going to my auntie's house, each of my aunts have a different way of cooking, but the seasoning are all the same. The meat is not tender yet, so we're gonna cover again and let it cook. Tasted my meat and it tastes, and it's a little bit of salt. So instead of salt, I'm going to add adobo, which I usually do. A little bit of it. Now I'm getting the ingredient that we added as a whole at the beginning, right? And I'm putting it in a spoon that has a strainer, right? Has these little holes, right? This is how my grandmother with our blender used to get the maximum flavor out of her fresh ingredients when she used to make habichuelas guisada. She would take all of those ingredients, she would take a fork and she would press them. You see? She would press them and she would flip them. And then what she used to do, she used to submerge them back inside the water, right? While keeping it on that big spoon, right? Because you don't want to lose them. And then you flip it again and you repeat the process. And then like that, this is what our grandmas in the campo and the countryside used to do, because they didn't have a blender, right? This is what they do. When they don't have a blender, you do what you gotta do. And those beans used to taste delicious. My grandmother's habichuela guisada was so good, and I always used to wonder, it's just a secret. Not only that you get the flavor that comes out while it's boiling, but you take the maximum of it. And this add like an extra kicking flavor. You also do it with the onions, the cilantro, the peppers, all of those ingredients that you add at the beginning as a whole. And for some reason, and my grandmother didn't have no pumpkin, and she wanted to have beans to thicken a little bit, she would take some of the beans and do the same thing, kind of crush them, and like that she would make the liquid from the beans a little thicker. And you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. When you don't have one way, there's another way. So if she didn't have no pumpkin to make the consistency thick, she will use the bean itself. And I hope you learned something new today and something about my family culture, because it's one thing about the Dominican culture, but I gave you my grandmother's secret. Before you turn off the stove, when you're cooking your beans, you make sure you taste them to make sure it has your desired taste. And or if you're missing any sodium or anything, look how beautiful the color that our beans have. Delicious and beautiful habichuelas guisada or stewed beans. Dominican style habichuelas guisada. You have no excuse, now you know how to make it. Thank you for staying until the end to enjoy today's recipe. I hope you learned something about the Dominican culture today, and I hope you learned something new. I share my grandmother's secrets how to make these beans, and I hope you and your family will also enjoy this meal, and you can prepare these meals in your house as well. God bless, and I see you in the next video. Don't forget to share and subscribe.